Welcome back. All right, we're going to talk about Vegas Golden Knights. Vegas was early on looking like they were going to cruise to the division. They were as much as, 10 points ahead at one point? Like, they were the one team other than Boston that looked like they would just cruise and win their division. And then it's all kind of fallen apart. So they're 29-18-4, and they're dealing with a lot of injuries, right? And key injuries, including to Mark Stone. Stone being the one that I've picked as their MVP. Looking at their lineup, Stevenson you can make the argument for. At points you could argue Eichel, but his play lately has been less inspired. And so a lot of discussion about Eichel, and I can't at this point in time come out and say, well, Eichel's actually playing really well, but I can't. And this is one of the things with Jack Eichel that Buffalo fans will tell you. That this has been a frustrating trend. There were points during Eichel's time in Buffalo that he was dominant. He looked like an excellent, solid, really good young player, and then it just sort of stopped, petered out. And injuries definitely had an impact on that. Now, the highest they've been on the power rankings is first. That was early in the season. Their current spot is in 15th, and that's high. Honestly, it's high considering the way they've been playing. But I do try to make sure that it's not really dramatic shifts because I don't want to have those dramatic shifts back and forth. But their playoff odds are currently 81.6%, roughly 15% below the odds for Seattle. So that has to be kind of a kick in the teeth for Vegas. Their first 10 games, they were 8-2, cruising. Through 20 games, 15-4-1, still just cruising atop that division. Through 30 games, 29-1. So here you have them with a 5-5 record between game 20 and game 30. Still not awful. And then they're 6-3-1 over their next 10 to get to 26-12-2. However, since then, they've been 3-6-2. And this is, again, injuries really taking their toll. And it's not just the number of injuries, it's who. And Mark Stone being out is a huge one for the Vegas Golden Knights. So I have their status as contender, but I had to add a question mark because their play recently has them potentially falling out of the playoffs. We've seen Edmonton playing better. We have seen Seattle at the top of the division, LA's winning games without needing the goaltending. If they start getting goaltending, they would be ahead of Vegas and probably comfortably by the way that Vegas has been playing lately. So there's no certainty with Vegas that they end up, in a top 3 spot in this division. And if I had said that 20 games into the season, people would have said I was crazy. Of course, if I had said, well, they're going to get into a bunch of injury trouble, Vegas fans would have said, actually, that tracks. Yeah, no, we take that back. So the top scorers, Stevenson, 11 goals, 33 assists, 44 points for him. Stone, 17 goals, 21 assists, 38 points. He, of course, being out with injury. They need him back. Eichel, 15 goals, 19 assists, 34 points. I had really hoped that Eichel's game would get back to where it was earlier in his career, but whatever the reason is behind Eichel's play not being great, that's where it is right now, and they need him to be that great player that they traded so much to get. Karlsson, 11 goals, 23 assists, 34 points. I love William Karlsson's two-way game. I do wonder with the issues Vegas is having if they move on from a misfit, in that Karlsson, Smith, and Marchessault have been there the whole time. Do they move on from one of them? Smith, 18 goals, 14 assists, 32 points. I don't think Riley Smith would be the one they moved on from. Karlsson might be. And I only say that because Karlsson would have excellent value on the trade market if they decide to make him available, because he's a really good two-way forward. And they need to change something in Vegas. Obviously, Eichel's not going anywhere. The Misfits, that line has been together for their entire run. On and off, obviously, they're not always a line, but that's always an option. I just wonder if a dramatic move needs to be made somewhere, or if they just look and go, you know what, if we're healthy, we'll be fine, which in theory is true, but I do think things will change because they always seem to change when it comes to the Vegas Golden Knights from one year to the next, and they do chase that next. I always say that they're chasing the next shiny object. I haven't seen what that is yet. I can't prove that Bo Horvat ends up in Vegas in June or July, but I can't say that I would be surprised if Bo Horvat somehow ended up signing in Vegas in July, and they had to move money in order to get Horvat in there. And wouldn't it be funny if Eichel was the one that ended up being moved so they could get Horvat? Anyways, I'm just out there throwing out the most crazy thing because usually Vegas ends up doing that crazy thing, right? They traded a lot to get Pacioretty and then traded Pacioretty off to get cap space. And that's just one of many examples. We've discussed the many examples over the last couple years on this channel. Their goaltending tandem is Thompson and Hill. Aiden Hill, not fantastic backup goaltending. I do wonder at what point would Brossoit get a chance? Do they end up calling up Brossoit at some point? Thompson's been good. Thompson's had his rough patches as well, but he's a young goaltender and he's learning his way in the National Hockey League. They're penning UFAs. There's not a lot here. You've got Kessel, who's been decent in bottom six role. His plus minus isn't fantastic, but yeah, I mean, people will tell you, yeah, there's people right now saying, why are you talking about plus minus? So see, they're there. And then you've got Hill and Brossoit, both of them on expiring contracts. And so we'll see whether or not Brossoit gets a chance at the backup job somewhere during the rest of the season if Hill's play tails off. But for Vegas, this really is a matter of they need to get healthy. They need to get healthy quickly, or else they may very well end up in a position where they could, I don't even want to say miss the playoffs, but I just said it. So they could miss the playoffs. Weird, huh? Anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.